Okonomiyaki is a Japanese street food that is one of my favorites. Sadly, it's not as popular here in the States as sushi and ramen is, so whenever I want to enjoy it, I have to make it myself. Alright, so okonomiyaki takes a lot of ingredients, and you probably don't have most of these things laying around your house. Let me go over a few things that you need, and I will have a better description in the below in the description. One of the hardest things you're gonna need to find is this thing right here. This is a Asian yam, or like a potato-y starchy thing. It's called Nagaimo, and you're gonna need that. That's like the base of the ingredients, or of the recipe. You're also gonna need some cabbage, some green onion. We got flour, some sugar. I have some eggs. This is baking powder. For my toppings, I got some sauce. It's like a barbecue sauce almost, a Japanese sauce. It's so delicious. And also some Japanese mayo. These two things you'll have to go to a Japanese market to find. We're gonna need some dashi. If you remember from my last recipe, we used dashi. I already mixed it up. I just needed a little bit just to give it that little fishy flavor. We have tempura pieces, Bonito Flakes. This is seaweed, like shredded seaweed. This is aonori, and basically green seaweed. And then for meats, I have a whole mix of seafood here. There's like squid and clam and octopus in there, a little bit of crab meat, and then pork belly. Plus we're gonna need some radish and some oil. That's the gist of our ingredients. With all this, we'll combine it. Some salt right there. We're gonna combine all this together to make okonomiyaki. All right, so we got our ingredients all gathered up. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm gonna take 1 cup of flour, just pour it into a large mixing bowl. I have a little dish that has just like a 1/4 tablespoon of sugar and a 1/4 tablespoon of baking powder. Shake that in with that. I want some salt. I'm just gonna get a big pinch of salt. And I'm just gonna mix that together. Oh, where's my mixer? There's my mixer. I'm gonna mix that together with my mixer, just so it's blended up. And then I'm gonna be adding some more to this. The next part is to take our Nagaimo, I said that wrong, but that's okay. To take our radish, or yam, and we're gonna peel it and grate it up with a grater. And we want to use about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches of it. So not the whole thing. And it's a yam, so it's gonna be sticky after I peel it and possibly itchy on my skin, but that's okay. It's just because it's full of starch. I'm just gonna peel off the skin. We don't want that. You could wear gloves if you wanted to. It's so slimy. Chop the end off. All my knives are gone. And then I'm just gonna grate all of this. I should probably get a dish. Let me grab a dish real fast. There we go. And I'm gonna grate about, like I said, 3 or 4 inches of this into the dish. And I want to use the small one. I wish I had a better grater than this, but I don't. And this is what's going to become the powder, the batter. Now that I have my Nagaimo all grated up, it's really slimy and sticky looking. I'm just going to scrape all this off into here. And we're gonna take this, sort of a gooey mixture, add it to the flour, And we also want to take 3/4 of a cup of dashi and mix it in with it. And we're just gonna mix this all together. Get it all until the flour becomes a batter. So, just take some clear plastic wrap, cover it up, and let it sit. While the batter is setting, I'm going to take my head of cabbage and I'm just going to core it. So let me just chop this in half real fast. And I just want to get rid of that core. Remember, I'm not a chef, so my knife handling skills are terrible, but I can take a core out of a cabbage. And we are going to just mince this up and chop it into fine little bits that we're going to set aside and use we're going to mix in with our batter later on. So let me go ahead and just chop this down. And I'm just going to really just mince it up. After you chop up your cabbage, we're going to take our pork belly and we're just going to lay it out and cut each piece in half because it's going to go on top of our okonomiyaki. So I'm just going to unroll a bunch of pieces. Pork belly is just really fancy bacon, is all it is, in my opinion. And just cut them in half. And I'm just going to save those on another plate until my batter is all ready. Finally, you want to take your cabbage and you want to add it to your batter and mix it up. You don't want to add it all at once though, so I'm just going to add some handfuls at a time and mix it in until it becomes a cabbagey dough that has a little bit of body, and we're going to then fry this up in a frying pan. So let's go ahead and just mix this in. Now that I have my batter all mixed in with my cabbage, I get to go ahead and start cooking it. I took my large frying pan and I put it over my heat, so I'm letting it heat up. I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil in here. I'm just using some vegetable oil, but you can use any oil you want. Try to use something a little flavorless so you don't get that flavor into your okonomiyaki. Just get this heated up. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my hands. I'm gonna make just a small little pancake of the dough and drop it right in the middle. I guess you could use a bowl or something, or a spoon or something. But I'm just gonna throw my hands in there and then I'm just gonna wash them off really quick. So I'm just gonna get sort of a doughy bit, maybe a little bit more than that. And I'm just gonna drop it right in the middle and flatten it out. I'm gonna rinse my hands off real fast. I'm gonna take my little spatulas and sort of shape it like a pancake. And I'm going to throw on my pork belly right on top. And I'm going to let that cook for about 5 minutes. I'm going to cover it up. And in 5 minutes, I'm going to flip that over. After 5 minutes, let's go ahead and take the lid off. Woo. We're going to flip this over. This is the tricky part. You got to be really careful not to go ahead and shape it some more. And cover it back up. Let it simmer for another 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, flip it over one more time. See your pork belly is nice and crispy. I'm gonna let it cook 2 more minutes, and then I'm gonna add some toppings. Now that it's all cooked up, I'm gonna take my Okonomiyaki sauce, and I'm gonna just lather it on there. And I take a brush, and I sort of baste it out there. I want to get a lot on there, so I want to just sort of spread it out. Some chefs will do this while it's cooking. I'm actually cooking another batch right now, so I only have so much space on my frying pan. And then I'm gonna load it up with some Japanese mayo. So I'm just gonna hit it with a quick little zigzag. Japanese mayo tastes a little bit different than American mayonnaise. So whatever that is. We're gonna put on some Bonito Flakes. Just load it up on top. Some dried seaweed, aonori. Mix it on there. Some more radish. Or not radish, ginger, pickled ginger. And some green onion. And there you have it. Okonomiyaki. Osaka style. I forgot to mention that earlier. There's different styles of okonomiyaki.